Good evening. Tonight we're going to talk about YG and why their business practices are trash. So, the main issue with YG is that unlike SM and JYP, they only relied on one or two things for their third gen strategy and didn't make really any long term plans for the fourth gen. JYP, SM, and YG were all at their base at their base statuses at the end of Gen 2 or in end of Gen 2.5, with SM being the blueprint, JYP being the source of relatable and casual music, while having the nation's first love. SM had Yuna, and then YG had Blackpink. They didn't YG didn't have a Yuna or a Suzy. But what they did have was diversity in their music and their creative expression, and also being sort of the alternative music that culturally in Korea was seen as more rebellious or more anti the social norms that were expected of the musicians at that time. And going into the third gen, SM kind of dialed it back, kind of just focused on its company infrastructure, dealing with the fall of Girls' Generation, which I'm pretty sure actually legitimately messed up some of SM's business plans. And again, was a very stupid decision by the members. Um, and this can be shown with the fact that they didn't have their fourth Japanese album, and I'm not talking about the best album. They were supposed to have another full Japanese album um, the following year after Jessica's departure. However, that never happened, and it's clearly because of that, because the Japanese producers loved her voice a lot, and they rarely performed their Japanese songs after booting Jessica. Um, but JYP actually, I honestly, I fully believe that when JYP heard of Jessica getting kicked out of Girls' Generation, he disbanded Five Mix and was like, no, 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 I'm gonna get you bitches together. We're gonna have a TV show. We're gonna have a show, and we're gonna make you their replacement. And that's exactly what he did. He saw an opening and he took that. Why wouldn't he? And after that show, which pioneered a lot of things, Twice actually pioneered a lot of things starting out. They started a lot of trends. They revived the Hallyu wave in Japan because people were getting sick of K-pop in Japan. But Twice made it more interesting, especially having three Japanese members. Having three Japanese members and one Taiwanese member. Having Sana go viral, one of the first K-pop idols to do so, and completely elevating Twice's place in like the K-pop genre, and like giving us a look into what the new K-pop idol is going to be like. And then putting his money into shows, into the Mnet, into shows, the survival shows, further promoting his idols, and having some of his idols become the biggest names in Gen 3. JYP owned Gen 3. SM sort of just stayed the consistent standard for the general audience with his boy groups, and then with Red Velvet. Although for a good point of time during Gen 3, people were just waiting for him to release another Red Velvet. To release another SNSD. But he had the solo list to sort of sustain him there. However, YG solely relied on, I think, like what, Treasure and like some other project group and Big Bang and Blackpink, and constantly put 21 aside, eventually disregarding and just throwing them away in general. Now, this hurt YG long term because how he marketed Blackpink and how he handled Blackpink's catalog consisted of him just essentially milking them as much as he could with the least amount of effort and just promoting them as models and designers. Now, this does not give any artistic or financial incentive for the girls to stay in a group, because artistically, the girls don't even have much of a catalog. They were even asking for new music during their shows. And the ones that are artists aren't going to want to put up with that much longer. And the idols that do better, like Jisoo, the one that could be an actress, she could just leave. Like all four of these girls are more profitable alone than as a group necessarily, because they only come back as a group maybe every 1.5 years, which is extremely low for a K-pop idol. So they don't necessarily have as much incentive to stay together. But they're the company's biggest money makers right now. And but that low effort investment, high return only lasts so long. And now, because of the Burning Sun situation and some other scandals, they no longer have Big Bang. They're relying on the profits from a group that didn't have like sustainability when it came to their music, and another group that was just from Gen 2 and then involved in one of the biggest scandals in the third generation, if not the biggest scandal. So now they're kind of at a loss because they've lost most of their biggest moneymakers. And then Blackpink, who this company seems to be relying on, is at a standstill right now. Well, not at a standstill, but it's on faulty footing right now. So because they didn't really invest into their idols appropriately and was just thinking about the large sums of money that they were getting instantly, and just sort of sitting on the fact that they had so many legends under their belt with having Big Bang and how powerful G Dragon is and how influential like Top was even with his scandals and before everybody hated Sunguri for the prostitution thing. And I guess they just thought black people were just gonna stay under the roof. But yeah, that's why YG is kind of in a tough place right now because they don't have filler groups that lasted through Gen 3 or even Gen 2 that they can whip out for a comeback. SM can just pull out Wendy, Taeyeon, maybe ask Tiffany if she wants to join the company for a little bit to release a song. Yuri wants to do another solo. The EXO members, the EXO as a group. Super Junior. Super Junior releasing a song for funsies. During Gen 3, SM routinely had Hyoyeon release music coincidentally anytime there would be a break in like their bigger or newer group schedules. NCT, JYP, twice got them a new building, and now they're having their most profitable years yet the last 2 years while they've been on tour in America. Getting a bag. Their sales have gone up, the highest sales that they've ever had. They finally beat the sales from TT with more and more, but then everybody hated that era. So then, like, after I Can't Stop Me, I believe, then that's when their sales continue to rise, and they've been on the rise money-wise since. So JYP is good. And then he has multiple groups that have come out ever since 2019, leading the girl group wave for Gen 4. So it's just like JYP. So it's like, YG, what are you doing? Do you want your company to collapse? Because the landscape of K-pop is so much bigger now. And it's like the company itself isn't trying to grow itself as a company. It's not trying to invest in its future in a way that doesn't solely rely on thinking that these two groups are just going to stay in house forever. And I know they had a lot of scandals. I know that they have a debut that's trying to happen with Baby Monster, but it's not going off so well. I don't even know why they're trying to just debut one group, because you need more. Yeah. That's my little rant. YG, I don't know who's managing YG. I don't know who's doing it, but they're not doing it well.